we stay on the labor front because more labor unions have served notice of their decision to embark on an indefinite industrial action. The latest of such is the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CETAG. Starting January 6, 2022, CETAG says it will proceed to withdraw teaching indefinitely. The decision was arrived at a crunch meeting today by the leadership of the association, and they cite government's failure to implement the agreed conditions of service for its members from 2017 to 2022. Additionally, the association says government failed to pay some allowances and outstanding arrears of 9 months, which was paid in the last quarter, to be paid in the last quarter of 2021. Here's a breakdown of the other issues they raise for which they're going on the strike. It says in an emergency National Council meeting of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CETAG, on Tuesday, January 4, 2022, the National Council unanimously agreed to embark on an indefinite strike across all 46 Ghanaian public colleges of education effective Thursday, January 6, 2022. The indefinite industrial action is grounded on the following. 1. The failure of government to implement the 2017-2022 conditions of service as agreed to. CETAG and government signed a memorandum of understanding on September 24, 2021 after reaching agreement on the 2017 to 2022 conditions of service for members of the association. 3. The said MOU states that effective date of implementation as January 1, 2021, while payment of associated arrears of 9 months was to be paid in October, November, and December 2021. By this release, therefore, the association's National Council has resolved to follow through with its decision to withdraw teaching, one of its main duties, as stipulated in the harmonized conditions for colleges of education effective Thursday, January 6, 2022. The National Council would like to use this opportunity to entreat all CETAG members to comply with this directive until further notice. Prince Obeng Himang is president of the association and he joins us via Zoom. Thank you very much, Mr. Obeng Himang. You wrote to the NLC. What was their response with regards to your decision to proceed on this strike action?
Good evening to you, Ernest, and then your cherished viewers, particularly those in Accra College of Education and across the length and breadth of Ghana. The college is listening to you. We wrote to the National Labour Commission around 20th December this year, notifying them of our intention to embark on strike tomorrow. That is, if government did not come clear with respect to respecting the terms of the condition, the terms of the agreement that we have with government. And as usual, Labour Commission wrote back to us telling us not to proceed with the action because they were putting together to bring us together so that we resolve the matter. We want to use this platform to set a record straight that our matter is not a
Unfortunately, Mr. Obeng Himang, we lost the sound from your Zoom connection there. We'll try and rectify that and come back to you on what your engagements have been with the NLC. But fortunately, we have the Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission, Ofosu Asamoah, joining us on phone. Mr. Asamoah, thank you for your time here on JoyNews Prime. How do you view CETAG's decision to proceed on strike despite your advice for them not to do so? You heard Prince Obeng Himang say that you discouraged them from proceeding on the strike, and yet they have resolved to do that.
Yes, I think that is unfortunate because, like you rightly said, they brought their concerns before the route was giving us notice of their intended action. We wrote back to them that they should hold on to the strike while the necessary work is being done. That is an engagement with their employers and, for that matter, government. I spoke to him on a special station a few minutes ago, and he admits that there's been some behind-the-scenes consultation that is with the leaders and the government representatives. So something is going on. Now he goes on to say that they have reached an agreement already.
Yeah.
After they have come to the Labour Commission several times with their employers, and that the employers have failed to perform their part of the agreement by making the payment since 2017. Now, if parties appear before the commission, and in the course of the determination or hearing, they agree to go and negotiate, they go back and negotiate or dialogue, and they come to an agreement, and it's brought to the commission adopts it, right? Like a form of a directive or a ruling of the commission, because the parties themselves have agreed. So if one party defaults in the performance of its part of the agreement or contract or whatever they have entered into, the other party has the opportunity to come to the commission to enforce the agreement against the other party. That is what our legal department does. We have an enforcement unit that if we give a directive, if we give an order, a ruling, or where parties, there's an arbitration award or anything that the parties are doing, either by legislation or after an administrator has been achieved and they are penned their signatures, it is enforceable.
But Mr. Samoa, what you told UTAG, your pronouncement on this was an advice and not a directive. Is that a suggestion that there is enough grounds for them to proceed on this industrial action? Legitimate.
It's an alternative. From what you said, there's an agreement. Certain things must be done. It hasn't been done. And therefore, you must get the other part to do it. There are several ways, you understand. You could write a reminder to them. They could give notice of a strike and engage in it, as is being done now. And it could also be enforced because. Now, the most important thing I see is the end result. You want the money. If you draw the attention of the commission or you appeal to the commission to enforce the judgment, you end up by getting what you want without anybody losing. At the moment, they are using the strike to press home the demand. Yes, they might get it, but at the end of the day, look at what is happening. We are going to do man hours in terms of PTA. That's what I was advocating yesterday. You sit home for 2 weeks or 1 week without teaching. Now you go back, you have lost time that you cannot recover. So what we intend to do is, okay, then we are going to do additional hours. So students will have to do 12 hours, 15 hours, instead of perhaps about the 8 hours. Yes, you are ready to teach, but are they in the position to absorb? You have to consider all this.
But Mr. Samoa, the other aspect is that government needs to honor its obligations. Very often we hear you encouraging, discouraging actually the labor unions not to proceed on strike. But in this case, government has an obligation.
No, you see, that is what I started by saying, that government has an obligation under the terms of whatever they have signed, is that right, between the union and government represented by the ministry. So if the government is defaulting, let us proceed against the government to enforce it in court, rather than resorting to strike. It's an alternative, all right, but I think that it should have been better to enforce it against government in court.
Just finally, are you going to bring them back to the negotiation table?
And then, no, what is left is, from what is left is enforcement.
Okay.
So yes, they could negotiate the text of it.
Very well.
What is left, I suppose.
Very well. Let's see how this proceeds. So, I'm grateful for your time.
I advise them to call off the strike.
Very well.
And then allow the committee to enforce the agreement against government.
Mr. Samoa, thank you very much for joining us. Let's go to Zoom now and speak to the president of the Teacher Trainee Association of Ghana. Abdul Manan Dimbe is their president. He joins us. Abdul, school is yet to reopen, over the weekend. Already, your reopening dates have been postponed a few times. How will this impact your studies?
Thank you very much. Good evening to you and your listeners. It's actually very sad after sitting at home from August 2021 and schools are going to resume in January, only to be hit by information that CETAG would be going on a strike action. It is actually very sad. We recall the same thing happened in 2018 when the first batch of the B.Ed students were admitted into the colleges of education. We had level 100 students who were admitted, and they were on campus, but close to 3 months, there were no teaching and learning going on. So it was just eating and sleeping. Now, as you rightly stated, our academic calendar has been readjusted, which means that due to the infrastructure deficit in the colleges of education, instead of spending 4 months per semester, you are spending close to 8 months per semester. There is no time. It's really going to affect the students in the colleges of education if this strike action holds. Now, this is our point of view. Our point of view is that if there's a memorandum of understanding between government and CETAG, I think that should be honored. Because I remember in the case of UTAG, when the University Teachers Association went on strike, the president himself had to intercede in this whole case, and then everything was settled. There shouldn't be any difference here at all. Our tutors in the colleges of education are aggrieved because after they had agreed to have a memorandum of understanding with the government has failed to honor its promise. And once that has happened, they would have to take it to the next level. And this is where we are. It is going to affect us in the colleges of education. And as it stands now, we would call on the government to actually honor the agreement they had with CETAG so that our teaching and learning will go back to normal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's the president of the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana. Let's do some more on education. But before we go to the University of Ghana, earlier we lost there the president of CETAG, Prince Obinhiman. Mr. Obinhiman, thank you again for reconnecting. You heard the NLC executive secretary say that what is left is just an enforcement of the decision. If you just hold on, perhaps a while longer, the issues will be addressed and the academic calendar of your students of the various colleges will be maintained so that the students can proceed with their studies. How hard is that?
Ernest, I think we need to be honest with the realities. This issue has been back and forth, and the National Labour Commission Executive Secretary, Mr. Hosea Samoa, I respect him so much. He should imagine putting himself in a situation if he were to work from 2017 up to date without commensurate conditions of service in Ghana's economy. I am not sure he would agree. Wanting to respect the laws of the land regarding how to declare strike and all of these things, we sent a letter to the National Labour Commission far back as 20th of December. And it's important to note and set the record straight that this issue is not about negotiation where the impression should be created like we are negotiating and we've broken away to declare strike. Let it be known. Let the National Labour Commission tell government in the face that, look, you have agreement with the people. You signed MOU. Respect the terms of the MOU. If they have any bit of advice, which of course I believe they do, they should offer the advice to government so that government will respect the terms of the agreement. We are saddened by that, especially when we've stayed home for long and students are reporting and this thing has to happen. We are saddened by the fact that we also have our own students, we have our relatives, sons and daughters who are part of the college fraternity. That is why we've been friendly in all of these terms, because we look at the anger and the fact that we have agreed to carry on with all our activities apart from teaching. We are going ahead with the mentorship, going ahead with teaching practice supervision, going ahead with project work supervision, and all of those things. We expect the National Labour Commission to speak to government in plain terms so the government will respect the terms of the agreement, and then we'll move on from there.
Mr. Obinhiman, I'm grateful for your time. That's the president of CETAG, Prince Obinhiman.